Welcome to Season 4 of She Lancer, Mom Entrepreneur with VoiceOver Angela. I'm your host, Angela. I'm a full-time voiceover artist and audiobook narrator, and this podcast are the audio versions of my live Q&A chats on YouTube. If you'd like to be part of the live Q&A chats, come on over to my YouTube channel, VoiceOver Angela. I'm live every Tuesday at 12 p.m. EST. We talk about voiceover, the business of voiceover, audiobooks, and so much more. Find more information on my website, voiceoverangela.com. Enjoy today's episode. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Thank you for joining me again for another live Q&A chat here on my channel. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Angela. I am a full-time voiceover artist and audiobook narrator. And my channel here on YouTube is dedicated to those of you just getting started out in this wonderful world of voiceover and audiobook narration. And through my channel, I share with you some of the stuff that I do every day in my own voiceover business, the tips, the tricks, the techniques, those kinds of things. If you're not new here, then every week we have a new poll, which is usually the topic of today. I'm sure we'll get into a few others. So if you haven't put in your vote yet in the poll, go ahead and do that now. But today's poll is, we're talking about script interpretation today and knowing your W's. And knowing these W's will definitely help you to understand and break down your script. But today's poll was, how much time do you spend? I'm limited in characters, so I had to phrase it this way. How much time is spent understanding, marking up, or breaking down your script before you record it? Meaning, and we talked about cold reads and breaking down your script a few weeks ago. And there are some scripts that probably could get away with cold reads. I'm not saying that that is something that you could do, but in a pinch, if it's pretty straightforward, you could probably get away with a cold read. But I would say the majority of what we do, not only in commercial work and IVR, I mean, really, these could apply to anything, especially with audiobooks, e-learning, stuff like that, commercials, I think I already mentioned. Understanding the W's, really using these W's to understand how are you going to perform the script? How are you going to read it? How are you going to narrate it? How is it going to come across, right? So far, let's just take a look at the poll and then we'll get into what the W's are. Right now we have 21 votes, and it looks like 5% of you said 1 to 2 minutes. And I know it's going to vary based on the length of the script. If it's relatively short, you might not need more than a couple of minutes. But let's just say, it's a medium-sized script. At 27% of you said 3 to 5 minutes, which also could include not only breaking it down, but maybe reading it aloud a couple of times until you have a good feel for what you're saying and how you're going to say it, right? That could also be included. 5 to 10 minutes, 61% of you said 5 to 10 minutes. And I think that's a pretty good time limit for understanding your script before you record it. And then 12% of you said I cold read. And again, I think that's going to depend on what the script is. Some of it's pretty straightforward. But if you can take the time to understand any script, and again, especially for audiobooks and some of the longer form stuff, you should really have a firm grasp on the W's. And not only that, going further than the W's, you could also mark up the script for highlighting where the adjectives are, where the verbs are, where the nouns are, and that'll really help you to understand what you're saying. But here are the W's. I'm sorry, I'm fighting a cold, so I'm on the downside. So struggling. But the W's are, most importantly, I think, is the who. Who am I as the narrator? Am I a doctor? Am I a teacher? Am I the author? Is this nonfiction? Is this an autobiography, right? Am I the author? Am I the voice of the author? Am I sharing information as the author? Am I a journalist? Am I, the head of a business looking for support, perhaps, right? Who are you as the narrator, as the person speaking? Who am I? And then you also want to go further with who is your audience? Who are you speaking to? Again, if I'm a doctor, am I speaking to a group of other doctors? Am I speaking to a group of kindergartners? Am I speaking to a certain demographic, or am I speaking to a certain generation? Am I speaking to my constituents? Am I speaking to a group of, like, a board of HOA? Who am I speaking to? That is going to definitely determine what kind of tone you're going to be using, because you're not gonna, talk to a group of doctors the same way you would talk to a group of kindergartners, right? Another W is, why am I saying this? Or what is the purpose, right? Are you sharing information? Are you trying to hit that sympathetic nerve? Are you trying to, evoke empathy? Are you trying to educate? What are you doing? Why are you speaking to them? Are you just, like, again, sharing information? Are you looking for perhaps some investment support? The why you're speaking to them is definitely going to determine tone. You could also go further with, where am I? And when does this take place? The where and the when will definitely help you out further with audiobooks, for sure. But I think for the most part, most of your scripts are going to really be based on, who are you? Who are you speaking to? And why? Why are you saying this? What are you trying to achieve? What is the end goal? So those are the W's that, and you can change these up however you want to, but if you have a good understanding of these basic W's, will really help you to understand how to present this information that you're narrating. There was something else I wanted to mention, but I'm sure it'll come back to me. Let's get over to the comments and see if anybody else has some further information that they can share with the group. Sorry, I'm really struggling today. All right, let's get over to the comments. Let's see who's first in. A lot of comments today. Thanks, guys. Thanks for hanging out. Christina's here. Good morning, Christina. Let me make sure my air conditioner's on. It's hot in here already. It's on. I'm just hot. I cannot vote today. I spend months and years on a script. By the time I voice the characters, I know them better than my kids. And all I'm focused on are audiobooks, so no other scripts for me. Well, of course, you're an author. It's going to be a little bit different for you. And then Christina says, I will say Wendy's W's are worth learning about. They can bring characters to life, even the narrator, who is a character. That is absolutely true. And I've been talking about the W's for as long as I can remember, but for the nonfiction or e-learning, even in audiobooks, when you're the narrator setting the scene, you're not in the dialogue parts, but you're just the narrator. The narrator is also a character in audiobooks, right? So that the W's apply to any person on the script. Dwight is here. Hey, Dwight. Hello, Angela, and my fellow Angelinistas. Got it. Caesar's here. Ooh, I can vote. I usually spend as much time as I can familiarizing myself with the script. So, max time allowable during a non directed read. I even mumble through it if I can position breaths. And that is one of the reasons why you should definitely read through a script, either while recording or not recording. I usually hit record and then go through my warm ups or my practice reads. That way I forget that it's recording. So I don't psych myself out with, I have to be on point now, right? Because I know some of us struggle with that. As soon as we hit that record button, we become the narrator and we have this narrator voice. I need to be a voice actor. So hitting record before I start with my practice reads, then that's like, I've already worked past it. It's a non-issue at this point because I've already done perhaps my setup or my jump off if I needed to, meaning the jump off, I call it, is if you're having a hard time getting past that narrator voice, then you could say, I have pictures in my studio. You could say, hey, you know what? I heard this really great story today. Let me tell you about it. And then you go into the script, whatever jump off you need to. But it really does help with eliminating or helping you get past that narrator voice when you hit record. So that's what I do. I hit record early and then do my practice reads. And then when I'm ready, I'll jump right into it. But to Caesar's point, with those practice scripts or practice read throughs, you can determine where the best place is to position a breath or to take a breath so it still sounds natural, right? Perhaps if there's a comma that's not placed in the right place for dialogue or outside voices, right? Because the written word and the spoken word are two different things. If it needs to be placed somewhere else, then you can take that time to play around with where that pause should be. And if it's a pause that is strategically placed, then you could also take a breath there as well and cut it out later if you need to. So practice reads are definitely helpful in that respect. Dwight says, as far as preparing, I tried to read through it like a narration just to see if it can be a cold read. Then it wouldn't be a cold read if you're reading through it. But if it is a good recording, I go with it. But if it needs more in-depth communication or requires, where is this continued? Here it is, acting, then it is definitely a look and work with the script for a bit, at least until I understand the characters and storyline better, for sure. And this is going to be hard to do with auditions, applying the whys for the most part, I think, especially for audiobooks, because you're usually given only just a small piece of text. Just a little bit of context. You don't have the whole big picture. You're depending on the author to really set the stage with what they're giving you, right? As far as character information, maybe where they are, what they're doing. But we don't always get that. We're always just given, or we're sometimes given just a section of the manuscript and asked to audition for that. So sometimes we won't have enough information to understand the W's, but in that respect, you would just have to do the best that you can with what you have. And then also include perhaps a message to the rights holder saying, hey, based on the context that I was given, this is my best interpretation. However, if it is completely off base, then I'm flexible. I'm willing to work with you to make sure that we're on the same page, that this is everything you want it to be, right? Caesar says, I'm bad at sight reading. For now, after some practice, you won't be. It takes practice. It's not easy to do. And worse with cold reads. And I need the familiarization to help with the ebb and flow of emotion in a script, as well as with character accents and personalities. Caesar says, that said, hello, Angela. Hello, everyone. Tragic news. All my mics are in airtight jars filled with desiccant. Storm season has begun, and humidity has hit a staggering 91% in the studio. Oh, my gosh. I pray that none of the damage is permanent and that the mics dry out over the next few days. Meanwhile, I have to save up for a dehumidifier. I'm beyond devastated, but looking forward to new gear again. Oh my gosh. There's 41 people watching this. I'm hoping you all can just give a moment of good vibes. Send some good vibes to Caesar. Here, we're all hoping that your mics are okay, Caesar. And he has a handful of them. Colette says, good morning, everyone. Good morning to you, Colette. Good morning, Tanya. Colette says, oh my God, Caesar, how awful. Yeah, that is terrible. Hoping everything turns out okay. Caesar says, oh, hi, Colette. Yeah, it is. I had no idea mic capsules were hygroscopic. They're made of mylar and absorb water. I've done some after-the-fact research and have some plans, trying to keep my chin up. That's really all you can do is keep your chin up, right? Look forward and keep a positive mindset. Stay positive, Caesar. Manifest that positivity. Caesar says, if it'll let me click it, there we go. I'll be posting my usual PSA/FAQ on Discord later to keep the group informed and hopefully help others not make the same mistake I've made. Dylan says, Caesar, I'm sorry. That's awful. That is awful. Colette says, I know some of your mics are recent purchases. Some credit card companies insure stuff you've just bought. Dylan says, I typically spend as much time as I can with a script. Audiobooks, I will read through the entire book while marking up character lines and characteristics. VO scripts, I like to mark up punctuation that helps me get the right tone and planning of the read. And this is going back to this comment here. For audiobooks, as you're going through them and understanding the W's, another good thing that you could do, especially if there are characters in the book, highlighting the different, like each character gets a different highlight for their dialogue. That'll help you at a glance to keep track of who's speaking. You could also have some people I know, you can do this any which way that's comfortable for you, but some people I know will have a notebook and have all the characters broken down with their highlight color, with their background, where they're from, if they have an accent, if they remind you of a character that you've seen perhaps in a movie or a show, so you could easily go right to that person's personality, if that makes sense. Any other kind of notes that you have about each character. You could also do this in a spreadsheet, in a Google Doc. You could do this however you want to, and that would help keep track of all the different characters and help you develop a character personality and voice, right? Colette says, Christina, where did you find Wendy's W's? I think, Colette, if you hit up Wendy in Discord, she could probably tell you. I know she was going to be working with some people in our Platinum group on acting. I could probably go over these with you in specific applications, but I would reach out to her on Discord. My cup of tea says, morning all. Morning to you, cup of tea. I never know how to pronounce this name. Greetings from Ocala, Florida. Greetings to you. You're going to have to break that down phonetically for me. I can never. That name, some like Irish names I can get, like Sorsha and stuff like that, but this one I could never pronounce correctly. So I'm sorry. Brittany Lynn says, with doing long form narration, I honestly have never tracked how long it takes me to prep my script beforehand. And of course, they're all going to vary, right? They're all going to vary depending on length, because, scripts are super variable in length, right? And purpose and use and application. I'll highlight the dialogue and quickly read the whole book. I think that's a good strategy. Masonry Construction says, I take as much time as is needed. Yes. I mean, just for the poll, kind of limited in what I can put in there. So this is the proper response. It's going to take as long as it's going to take, right? It's going to take the time that it needs to get through it and mark it all up and get it all ready to go. Sometimes I spend an hour marking up a 5-minute piece. It all depends. I like to put in pauses, highlights, capitals wherever needed. Makes the read seem natural. Dwight says to Colette, I think the W's are the who, what, why, when, where, and how. Dwight says, Angela, I hope you're feeling better from your cold. Yeah, I just have the remnants at this point. My partner brought home something home from the airport when he just went traveling. He had it first on Saturday, and then Sunday night it got me. But I think I'm on the downside. Colette says, thanks, Dwight. I knew that. Just wanted to know if you do that. Christine says, morning-ish. Yeah, I know it's not morning everywhere. It's morning for me. It's like 9:20 in the morning. Masonry Construction says, I can cold read better than most people. That said, for me, it's not adequate to rely on a cold read when you have time to work with it. True. Now, I could see if you had, I don't know, maybe you had found an audition for an audiobook, let's just say, that was posted on ACX not super recently, within a couple of days, and you really want to audition for it, but at this point, it might be pointless to audition for it. So you want to get it in as soon as possible. Really, anything that you're trying to get done as soon as possible. You might need to, not spend as much time with it as you probably should. But I think for the most part, you should take the time to understand those W's. It'll definitely help you to get in the right place and not sound like you're just reading words, right? It'll sound a little bit more natural. Adam Roussel says, just became a platinum member yesterday. Welcome to the group. Looking forward to learning more from the community. I hope you have joined Discord. If you haven't, if you go to the platinum page on my website, there's a big button there that says join the Discord, and hope to see you there. Looking forward to meeting you on Thursday. Colette says, congrats, Adam. Welcome. Caesar says, thanks for commiserating with me, Dylan. Worry not. This is a learning lesson, or however people say it. An expensive one, but a lessonable learning gate. I can't words today. I mean, you have every reason to have difficulty with words today. That's a kick in the pants. Haley Walker's here. Hello, Haley. Glad I was able to make it to this live session. We were glad that you made it too. I am very new to audiobook narration, and I am so excited for the journey ahead of me. Thanks for all the helpful videos. Well, you're welcome. I'm glad that they help and they don't bore people to death. That you guys want to punch the screen after a while. Yeah. I'm loopy. Give me a break. Dwight says, Adam and Haley, welcome on your individual VO journeys. Angela has set the tone of sharing is caring, and this group cares. They do. Most of the people that join here on Tuesday are, I shouldn't say most, but a lot of the people that join here on Tuesday are from my platinum group. And that group definitely cares. I know the people that do join and comment regularly on Tuesday non-platinum are also very caring and sharing people. People who are open and willing to reach out a hand and help those of you that are just starting this journey, because we all remember what it's like. We all were in the same place that you are now, right? We were there just a few years ago, a few months ago, maybe many years ago, but either way, we remember what it's like. So no question is stupid. No question is, not worth asking. Ask the questions. We're glad to help you. That's why we do this. And this group definitely cares. Caesar says hello to Ayala Mays. By now, Angela would have said your name out loud. Not really. Sorry. And I will have a silly grin on my face. Welcome to Angela's community. You have a delightfully discombobulating denomination. Caesar says, oh, wow, apparently I can words today. Well, at least one of us is. John Freetag says, I am used to live narration, so cold read is something I am used to. I mean, that makes sense. I mean, everything that we do, it just takes practice. And I think for John, if you're good with cold reading, then you're probably practiced and you're comfortable with sight words. And, maybe there isn't a whole lot of words in there that need pronunciation tips, or you don't need to look up the pronunciation of them. Pamela says, howdy. Hate to say this, but it's 56 degrees and cloudy up here. It is 86 degrees today at 9 o'clock in the morning. That's okay. I imagine that will change, but predicting July 1st will be in the 60s. On topic, how could you not give it time? YouTube Shorts, maybe. Yeah. M. Landry says, I think marking up is very important. Same. Habit I go into doing theater. Same. John Freetag says, I am an AZ. Fellow AZ Arizonian. I'm not going to talk about the heat. Christine says, getting over bronchitis. Oh, yeah, it's that time of year, when everybody, like, going in and out of the air conditioning. I don't know, in Arizona, we do that anyway. We get, like, air conditioner colds. So weird. But I think this one came from airport travel. Oslet Audio says, remember to sign into the correct account today. Well, that's good. Just saying hi before bed. Recorded 3 hours of an audiobook in old booth. Built new booth. Completely new sound. Re-recording all that I'd done. Yeah, if it's too much of a different sound, then your best bet is just to re-record it. I hope it wasn't much. I hope it wasn't like a ton that you had to re-record. Oslet says, so for this audiobook, it's a 3-hour prep time. P.S. Here are all the donuts. Oh, thank you. Thank you for the donuts. John says, praying for you, Caesar. Donnie says, I'm crying for you, Caesar. Kevin says, Kevin Collins, YouTube. I don't know what that means. Caesar says, thank you, John and Donnie. I have prepared a sacrificial goat at the altar of electronics. I may not actually sacrifice it, just whack it around with a little banana leaf. Don't make me laugh. Oslet says, Caesar, that flat out sucks. Sorry to hear about the mics, mate. Yes. Pamela says, oh no, Caesar, I have some spare teddy bears. Inside joke. I am so sorry. Donnie says, Dylan, I do the same thing for the audiobook. Color coordinating characters is a lifesaver, at least for me. Color coordinating characters. Yes, that definitely helps when you're just cruising through and you see another color coming up. Because if any of you read books, then you probably don't really notice because you're reading it. But if you have to read it out loud and give each character a different voice, and sometimes the formatting of the writing, there's a couple of conversations going on within a singular paragraph, or the author has it broken down into individual lines. All right, each line is a different character. So if you're highlighting all of the characters' dialogue in a particular color, then you won't run into the problem of maybe losing who is talking, because it could be one or two people talking, or, inserting dialogue. So if you can read through it and highlight characters as a certain color, it'll definitely help when you go to record it. Oslet says, P.S. Goat blood soaks into my mylar just as easily as water. Take it from me. Okay, hang on. I think we got a breakdown here. Ifa Ayala. Ayala. Ifa. Okay. Okay. All right. Let's do. There we go. Okay. Dwight says Caesar use a big banana leaf. And thank you, Ifa. Is that right? Ifa? Am I saying that right? Just to make sure that I don't mess up your names, but thank you for that. I probably still messed it up. Dwight says Caesar use a big banana leaf. Caesar says, thanks, Oslet and Pamela. I'll take the teddy bears, Pamela. Funnily enough, I've had a good feeling about this. And it's through experience and expenditure that we learn. W is also for Wookiee. Where does Wookiee come into play? Script interpretation. You know what? Don't answer that. Okay, here's another breakdown. Ifa. Okay. Ifa. Aliyah. Maisie. Thank you for that. Ifa. Colette Gray says, sorry for the dumb questions, guys. I had my bathroom tiles resealed with some kind of chemical treatment. I am feeling more than slightly stoned. Oh, no. They're not dumb questions. No dumb questions, Colette. Don't even worry about it. And you know what? Let's check the poll really quick. If you haven't had the opportunity to vote yet, then go ahead and get your vote in. Today's question was, how much time is spent understanding, or how much time do you spend excuse me, understanding, marking up, or breaking down your script before you record it? And understanding could be the W's. Marking up could be maybe inserting commas, capitalizing letters, showing where emphasis should be placed. And breaking down could be highlighting where the verbs are, where the nouns are, where the emphasis should be placed, marking it up and breaking it down. How much time do you spend doing this? And I know every script is going to be probably a little bit different because they're all variable lengths. And we could be talking about a commercial read. We could be talking a 15-second commercial, and we could be talking about a 75,000 word audiobook. So it's going to be probably not super accurate with the responses, but I would say for the poll, let's just imagine that it's a commercial read. It's a 30-second commercial read, right? How much time do you spend with that? 9% of you said 1 to 2 minutes. 24% of you said 3 to 5 minutes. And then 53% of you said 5 to 10 minutes. So I could even take that to mean that you spend as much time as needed on the script that you have in front of you. That's how I understand that poll response. And I'm guessing that's how you guys took it as well. So as much time as it needs really is the answer. And then 13% of you said I'd cold read, which in some situations you really could. But I think, personal opinion, for the most part, most scripts should be broken down, should be completely understood. Unless you've been doing this for 20, 30 years and it just comes super naturally to you, then maybe you're just the king of cold reads. But if you're just starting out, I would definitely apply the W's that we talked about earlier, understanding who you are, who is the audience, why are you talking to them, right? What is the purpose of this narration? And then you could even go further with where and when, right? Where are you? Are you in a boardroom? Are you in a field? Are you on a racetrack? And then when could be like, is this a period piece, right? Is this past tense? Is this happening right now? You could even go further with those. But really taking as much time as needed is probably the correct answer. Also, because breaking it down will help. That's what I was trying to say earlier, but I lost my train. Breaking it down will help you to not sound like you're just reading words off of a script. It'll help it come from a place that's a little bit more natural and easy to understand, more like a voice actor, right? And not just narrator voice or sound like you're reading words. Oh, we have a super chat. Hold on. I'm a coming. Sean Lester. Thank you, Sean. I appreciate you. Sean says, can you recommend a book that you use to learn script interpretation? Sorry if you addressed this already. I just got here. Um, no, I haven't. I haven't yet. However, this book that stays on my desk, it's buried under journals and things, but this book is very good. It's got a lot of great information in it. Just about anything that you can think of regarding like how to record on vacation, breaking down characters, your demo, agents, warm-ups. I mean, all kinds of great information in this book. If you you can either find this book on Amazon, or you could go, I have it recommended on my website. If you go to voiceoverangela.com, I've got a whole page of, microphones, headphones, this book, lights, like the lights behind me. If you're interested in any of the stuff that I've got, it's all on my webpage under the VO Gear tab. But I'd say that's a pretty good book to have in your arsenal for voiceover. And thank you for the super chat, Sean. I appreciate you. You're probably like, yeah, you already told me about this book a million times. I'm sorry, but it is a good book. Yeah, I'm trying to find where I left off. Hold on, guys. Here we go. Dwight says, script prep is important. Yesterday I had 3 auditions, and one of them I completely misread the POV and perspective. But I got it when I slowed down to understand the script better. Of course. Of course. Caesar, of course, says, I figured it was Aoife. Aoife Wilson is one of my favorite hosts from Eurogamer, which is why I'm familiar with the pronunciation. I can't tell you that I've ever met an Aoife. So, I mean, I've seen it in a book before. I couldn't tell you which one. But it wasn't an audiobook version, so I've never heard it pronounced. I've seen the word. I've seen the name, but I've never heard it pronounced. Dwight says, Aoife, I love your name. Even more so now that I know how to say it correctly. Exactly. On our way to 104 here. I think if I can get my phone to cooperate with me, I think we are also 100. I think 103, I think I heard, something like that. Warm, below the normal, but warm. Aoife says to Caesar, thanks for the welcome. As a resident of humid Florida, I would love to know how to protect my mics. We control humidity through air conditioning, but that sometimes fails. So Caesar, then what do you recommend then? What do you think based on your experience? Dehumidifier, is that the best way to go about it? Dwight says, dang it, Caesar, now I feel guilty about showing you my computer that finally arrived yesterday. I'm glad your computer arrived, but I know that guilt. Mark Samuel says, hello, everyone. I, too, have joined Platinum. Well, welcome. Welcome to the group. Looking forward to the interesting takes on VO. I hope you have also joined the Discord group. I've only been on Discord for like a brief second this morning, so I haven't seen, but I'm hoping that you guys are both on there. Colette says, everyone, please check a thumbs up for this session. It helps Angela and others trying to figure out where to start in VO. I appreciate that, Colette. Yes, if you're watching this on Team Replay, please consider subscribing. It really does help the algorithm for my channel to reach other people looking for this information. I really appreciate that. Thank you, Colette. Joy says, hello, everyone, from sunny Southfield, Michigan, where it's 87 degrees. It's about as warm in Michigan as it is here in Phoenix. I admit I spend 5 to 10 minutes analyzing a script just to make sure I found all punctuation marks and have enunciation right. And that is the absolute right question. I think it's going to take as much as it needs because, to your point, if you have to look up pronunciation also, Merriam-Webster.com is a great resource for not only defining words, but you can also hear it pronounced. Also, Youglish, and I've said this a few times here on my channel, I'm sorry, but Youglish is a good website to go to hear like a regional accent, a regional word pronounced. You could type in a word into the search bar, and what it does is it'll find YouTube videos that where this word is being said, so you can hear perhaps again regional pronunciation of a word. It's pretty helpful in that respect. But Merriam-Webster is where I go for most everything else for pronunciation. Caesar says to Aoife, oh boy, do I have some tips now that I've done my after-the-fact research. I don't want to spam chat with a bunch of stuff, but I'll try to be brief. Get a dehumidifier. 2, store mics in a dry place with activated charcoal bags when not in use. Place 1 or 2 bags of silica gel on the mic's head basket before chucking it back in its box. 3, additionally, you may want to invest in pelican cases for your mics, as they're also moisture proof. And 4, finally, if you want to keep your mic on its stand or boom, stuff a sock with a couple of 10 milligram bags of silica gel and slide the sock over the mic. 5, but more importantly, get your recording space down to 60% humidity or below. So please get a dehumidifier. Great tip, Caesar. Thank you. Haley says, I have never been a fan of annotating my books. My OCD would make my eye twitch, but I am willing to do what it takes. And it doesn't have to, you don't have to annotate your books. But it definitely does help when you go back in and start the recording. It's less work that your brain has to do. So you could it comes out as naturally as possible, right? Because you don't want to have all of these different things you're supposed to be focusing on, and it doesn't come out the way you intended. Or maybe you could be focusing on the character more instead of what's coming up next, if that makes sense, or trying to remember who's coming up to talk next. You could just see the color, right? It just makes it a little bit easier, a little bit more smooth, right? Dylan says, I use same colors for every book. Main is blue, sidekick is green, female lead is purple, bad guy red, etc. Smaller characters don't get colors unless they are recurring. It reduces mistakes big time. Great tips, Dylan. Thank you, Dylan. Dylan then says to Colette, did they charge you extra for getting you high, or was it complimentary? Dwight says, gang, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. It really helps boost Angela's sign. It does. Thank you, Dwight. Pamela says, Bear, what computer did you get? Am I shopping? Or DM me on Discord. Colette says to Dylan, it's complimentary with a second dose tomorrow. Second dose tomorrow? Oh, boy. Colette says, the W's are also basic to journalism, which requires those questions be answered in the first paragraph of your story. Sorry, I got to get rid of whatever's going on in the chat here. Okay. Thank you, Colette. Aoife says, great tip, Caesar. Sorry you suffered through this, but thank you for helping the rest of us. Yep, Caesar. Also, I'm very upset for you, and it's a very sucky thing that's happened to you. But in your research, I'm happy that you shared these helpful tips for other people that live in humid places. So through your pain, you're helping others. I appreciate that. Aoife says, can you please show the book again? Absolutely. Hold on. Voiceover voice actor, the extended edition. Again, it's also, this book is on Amazon, and also you can find it on my website. So if you're perusing my website, voiceoverangela.com, you can find it and a ton of other recommended stuff in the VO gear section. Caesar says, now the biggest tip for recording in humid places, use something like Angelus mic. It has a moisture-resistant RF condenser capsule, and I wish I had known this a year ago. Well, it's a good thing, because, maybe I've got spittle when you're talking. Hopefully not. Hopefully not. But nice to know that it's moisture resistant. Mark Samuel says, has anyone used Star Trek Online for character development? What is Star Trek Online for character development? Is it, how do we do, we just Google Star Trek Online? Can you build characters there? Please tell me more. Masonry Construction says to Sean Lester, study storytelling techniques. That would be a huge help with script interpretation. Colette says, same thing, more info, please. Yes. Caesar says to Aoife, I'm glad that my misfortune can be used to teach others the way of the voiceover. Cue gong sound effect. Masonry Construction says, temperature in Oceanside, California is predicted to spike today at 73 degrees. Okay, that's it. You're out. Anything over 72 is oppressive. Film at 11. John says, I want to do a background sign similar to yours. Can you share where you acquired it? Amazon. It was Amazon. Again, I have everything on my website, voiceoverangela.com. I have all that stuff. So it's just as easy as going to that page and go, oh, yep, there's that. If you're talking about this one, that's Amazon. Actually, all of them. The lines, the Nanoleaf lines, were also acquired on Amazon. They have black skins on them. Otherwise, the lines are white, but I wanted them to not be so eye-popping. I wanted them to be kind of muted down a little bit with black. Otherwise, they look just like this, white. If I'm not sure which one you were talking about, but both on Amazon. These skins, the black skins, I got through nanoleaf.com directly from Nanoleaf. Dylan says, I'm also located in Michigan. It's not fair. I live in a state where the winter air hurts my face. But now the summer sun is also trying to deep fry me and suffocate me with humidity. Can't win. And you're not in a very, sounds like Michigan, Florida, not very voiceover friendly. Arizona is mostly just hot for like 9 months out of the year, where you have to just deal with the air conditioner being on 90% of the day and night. John says, I see you have Pops. My prior career was managing the Funko warehouse in Buckeye. Oh, that's cool. I treat my studio like my teenage dream bedroom, right? I wanted lights and stuff to, my personality, and just have stuff that I like in here. I'm in here longer than anywhere else in the house. So I make it my own, make it comfortable, make it me, right? Caesar says to Donnie, shoot, I missed that message, LOL, but don't feel guilty. I'm happy to live vicariously off of your excitement. Mark Samuel says to Colette, the script is on the screen, able to follow the inflections. D. Hort says, hey, Angela, I'm relatively new on my VO journey, and I'm grateful for the role you have played in giving me some education and direction. That's awesome. Good. I'm glad. Worked. Good. That was my whole sole purpose for coming to YouTube, was just to share what I've learned. And if it helps, great. If not, at least I'm entertaining, I think, for the most part. Sometimes, maybe. Yeah. Brittany says, I think the script looks pretty all annotated with the different colors. It does. It does, for sure. Donnie says to Pamela, I posted it in the VO gear on Discord. Haley Walker says, over here in Dallas. Oh, yeah, Dallas, too. It's a whopping 83 degrees, which is very mild for this time of year. Sorry you were all melting. I mean, Dallas gets pretty humid and hot too, doesn't it? Joy says to Dylan, ain't that the truth? That's how it is in the mitten state. We freeze for 7 months, have nice weather for a month or two, then fry like Sunday's chicken for 3 months. That's funny. Haley says, do you all have workspaces studios? I live in a house of gamers and no room is safe. So my only time to record is if I send them out for the day. Oh boy. That's a tough one. Because Haley, as a voice actor, you do need a dedicated workspace and or studio that is relatively quiet. You will, unless you can like space share with one of the gamers, right? Upgrade the microphone, and then when they're not using it, you use it. But you don't want to be in a room full of other gamers at the same time, because obviously the microphone's going to pick up anything in the room. So you don't want a bunch of other voices in the background when you're trying to record something. So that is not the best of situations, but if you can record on a different schedule from them, perhaps, then that might be the way to go, right? That space could do double duty for gamers and voiceover, depending on if they're like online streaming gaming kind of, that's what I'm picturing. If they're doing that kind of thing, that it might be a good environment to also do some voiceover in, but obviously you can't do it all at the same time. You would have to have your own space for that. Dylan says to Joy, you're not wrong. Christina says it takes a long time color coding a book. I've done it, but the actors loved being able to easily identify their lines. So it's a payoff. There's a payoff. Yep. I mean, yeah, absolutely. I mean, ideally, you should be reading through the book anyway. If you're going to be narrating an audiobook, you should be reading through it prior to recording it. So while you're reading through it, have a notebook, have a tablet with you where you're putting in notes, highlighting dialogue, right? Dwight says, John, if you buy these signs and other stuff through Angela's site, she will get a little kickback. Help a gal out. Yeah, that's true. On my VO Gear page on my website, I mean, just for ease of everything being in one place, things that I get asked about most often, they're all on that one page. And I'm an Amazon affiliate, so I get a little bit of a commission every time you buy something through one of those links. Thanks, Dwight. John says, I have been watching you for some time, and most of what I learned I learned on ACX and ACX University. But what I learned from you was confidence and that you can do this attitude. Thank you very much. Yes, and thank you for bringing that up. ACX, the audiobook arm of Amazon, ACX does have a YouTube channel. If you didn't know that, got some great stuff on it, ACX University. Which is, like John said, mostly technical and like how to, right? What I'm trying to provide, and I'm glad John has verified that for me, is I'm trying to give you information that will help more or less your mindset, along with technical information. And maybe perhaps things that you come across, because you don't really know what you need to know until you need to know it. And being in my position, I've been doing this now for 6 years. And so I've learned a few things by stumbling upon things that I didn't even know that I had to know. And then once that happens, then I'll share it with you guys. And then hopefully you could be prepared for that and maybe handle it better when it happens to you. And then not only that, but mainly mindset. I think we are our own worst critics. You know, most of what happens within our business is how we deal with it. It's not what happens, it's more or less how we deal with it. And if we're thinking positively and looking for the positive in everything, then we might find more alternative solutions. We might find ways around it. You know, we might take the good with the bad kind of a thing, right? Confidence is everything. Your why to do this in the first place is going to be everything. Your mindset is everything. Your mindset will help you also get past imposter syndrome. because it's going to happen. It happens to all of us almost on a daily basis. Right? We all have that imposter monster that just sits, next to our studio chair and just, looks up at us from time to time like, hey. All right. So that's what I wanted to focus on. So thank you, John, for mentioning that. I'm glad that I can help with that. Dylan says to Christina, it's really, really nice that the audio drama scripts are sent out color-coded. Appreciate you, Craig, Mike, and Jamie. Yes, the audio drama team is awesome, amazing. And the audio drama that I'm talking about is something that we're doing in my Platinum group, where Christina is an author, if you haven't picked up on that already. She's written a book where everyone in the Platinum group has a different role. And we're making an audio drama with a full soundscape and sound effects and the whole thing. It's going to be awesome. Caesar says, house full of gamers means you'll need a noise isolated booth, which can cost, I think. Sedating the gamers would cost less, but don't recommend that. But may not technically be legal unless consented to. I don't know, Caesar. I don't know if we should say that at all. Dwight says, John, the Platinum Group has taught me technical stuff, acting stuff, confidence, tips, tricks, and techniques. ACX only as a small portion of this stuff. Yeah, to Dwight's point, my Platinum Group we touch on just about everything. The business side, website. We're going to be doing some email marketing discussions. We talk about the W's and applying that to audiobook scripts. I mean, we work on auditions together. We review each other's stuff. And then the support that we get from each other. And then there's the audio drama. There's so much going on in my Platinum Group that is helpful on so many different levels in building the foundation of your voiceover business. I think it's an amazing group of people. Confidence. D. Hort says, Angela, in one of your videos, you mentioned the plugins you use. I just purchased Waves NS1. NS1, it's one of my favorites. A must-have. Didn't you recommend another plugin for mouth noise? Yes, that is through iZotope. iZotope.com. If you go into their RX, now it's RX 11, suite of plugins, there's a mouth declick. There's a declick, and there's also a mouth declick. I'm not certain if they kept the same packages from RX 10 when they upgraded to RX 11, but the mouth declick used to only be available in the Elements package and then the standard package. Excuse me, I said that completely wrong. The mouth declick used to only be available in the standard package and the advanced package, like the middle package and the expensive package. It was not available in the Elements package, which is the basic package. I don't know if it's the same for RX 11, but what I'm trying to say is that before you purchase a suite of plugins from iZotope RX 11, make sure that the bundle that you're buying includes the mouth declick. That plugin has probably cut down my editing time by 80% easily because I have a very sticky mouth. It removes all of those clicks and pops and things that your mouth makes. It's one of those plugins that I would recommend everybody have. It's well worth the investment because you can use it on everything you do, auditions, audiobooks, commercials, from here forward to the end of time. Right? It's a one purchase kind of thing. It's an investment, but one that's well worth it. Christina says, inside the creator's mind, the APT is available on Kindle Vella. Not sure what inside the creator's mind is. Dylan says, the imposter monster keeps regular office hours in my booth. Same. Some days it's tough to even get started, which leads to even more anxiety. Christina says, NDA fell void for the most part yesterday, so you can talk about it. I'm not sure what you mean. I'm sorry. My head is still feeling like it's full of cotton. And what am I missing, Christina? I'm sorry. Caesar says, funny to think you still have that, Dylan. I heard you perform during APT episode 3. You have some serious acting skill. Dwight says to Dehart, coming from me, Dehart voice, LOL. Universal Audio has C-Series CVOX. It is a huge game changer. Just got it and is unbelievable. Rustic Hillbilly says, good morning, all. Good morning to you, Rustic Hillbilly. Colette says to Dylan, you're doing it. Tell your imposter monster to bug off. You're doing it. Yep. Joy says, the Platinum Group has been a great help for me. Speaking of which, I'm totally clueless on email marketing, so warning, you'll have a total beginner on Thursday. It's all right. I mean, we all start somewhere, right? Don't fault yourself for being new. Dylan says, I appreciate it, guys. It's just a thing my brain likes doing. And that's completely also very normal, Dylan. I think a lot of us have that imposter syndrome, no matter how long we've been in the business. I think it's a very normal and human thing to do. Caesar says to Dwight, unfortunately, that's exclusive to Apollo owners as it uses the interface's Shark processors. They'll have some serious hardware, by the way. Christina says 70% of mouth noise can be corrected with mic placement, 20% proper oral care, and 10% audio editing for some people. I've not found that to be true, Christina, unfortunately. I've tried everything. I've tried proper oral care. I've tried mic placement. I've tried eating a green apple beforehand. I've tried everything that I could possibly try. And the only thing that has saved me from hours and hours of extra editing was that plugin, was the mouth declick. So with different people, it's going to take different approaches if you have a sticky mouth. But she's not wrong. Mic placement can definitely help with mouth noise. And of course, brushing your teeth, drinking water, staying hydrated, all the things. But it didn't work for me. Unfortunately, not everything that Christina mentioned helped as much as it could have or should have. Christina then says, inside the creator's mind, book 1, the APT is the audio drama we're working on. Why did I not know that? I told you, I'm not all here. Don't. Christine says, just ordered the VA book right now. Oh, that's cool. It's a good book. I mean, it sits on my desk all the time. It's a great one to have handy for references on many different things. Sorry, Chris. I feel like a fool, but I'm not all here today. Yeah, there's tons of good information in here. All right, guys, I have got to go. I've got to give this a rest because I've got an audiobook to finish. I am hoping that you guys have a fabulous day. Let me take this banner off the screen. And punch fear in the face, kick that imposter monster out of your studio. Take the time that your script needs to break it down, understand your W's, all the things. Wishing you all of you the best week. And for my Platinum Group, I will see you guys on Thursday. And we will be back here next Tuesday. Same bat time, same bat channel. So I'll see you guys all then. So until then, bye. Thank you for listening to She Lancer Mom Entrepreneur with VoiceOver Angela. That's me. For more information about me, visit my website, voiceoverangela.com, or hop on over to my YouTube channel, VoiceOver Angela. Again, thanks for listening. Have a great day.